Last year, I made a video about a deleted scene. This deleted scene took place at the end of Modern Warfare 3, and we're going to take another look at this one again later in this video. But this was the first time that I had seen a cutscene or a mission or anything like that that was originally supposed to be in a Call of Duty game, but was then removed. And this cutscene essentially changes everything. It changes the complete ending of Modern Warfare 3 and everything that we thought would happen next. Well, as it turns out, there are a lot of these, but not just cutscenes. There's characters, there's missions, there's set pieces that were never used but created for games that actually really do change the story of various different Call of Duty games. And I thought the way that we could put this together is by today starting out with the Modern Warfare franchise, including the first 3 games and the second 3 that came out nearly a decade later. So to start things out, let's go back to where Modern Warfare truly began, with Call of Duty 4.
This game has not yet been rated.
Starting out pretty simple, we have a character who never came to fruition by the name of Michael Carver. Now, he was a part of the United States Marines, and he was supposed to serve alongside Paul Jackson as a protagonist within Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We literally know nothing about him, but he is mentioned in the cut levels that we are about to talk about next. This is where you realize what Call of Duty 4 was originally supposed to be, because unlike the first mission within Call of Duty 4, where you are doing the SAS training mission, this wasn't originally supposed to be there. There was supposed to be another mission by the name of Training where you played as Michael Carver. This has been found within the game files, and various different things that you would have to complete were things like use and get ammunition for the M4 carbine, proceed to the fragmentation grenades, things along those lines. This was playing as the Americans, and as we know, this would end up getting replaced by the SAS training mission. Also important to note that there was a section within that SAS training mission where you would throw C4 onto cars and detonate them that way. That was removed within the original Call of Duty 4, but then later put in Modern Warfare Remastered. Now, here's where I'm going to blow your mind, because the entire story of Call of Duty 4 was originally supposed to be different. It was supposed to be based around Khalid al-Assad and our other character by the name of Michael Carver. In fact, there were 3 other missions that were put together that were completely different story and narratively wise, because there was a whole section of the campaign that was supposed to take place in Saudi Arabia. The first mission was called Designated Training. This took place just outside of Saudi Arabia. This one, you were basically using a sniper rifle and taking out anti-air and protecting a parking garage and an overpass. Second was called Designated Marksman. This one took place once again at this overpass, but this time you're destroying the overpass. And the final one was called Descent. Now, the interesting part about this one is you actually had a camera and you were going in and taking pictures inside an enemy base. However, one of the pictures that you were supposed to be taking a picture of was the remains of Khalid al-Assad. This was going to take place essentially on the second to last day of the campaign. In other words, unlike what was eventually released for Call of Duty 4, where we had Captain Price kill Khalid al-Assad.
It's his cell phone. Who was that, sir?
Zakhaev. Imran Zakhaev.
This time, Khalid al-Assad would be back in Saudi Arabia, and there was a whole different story planned around that. This was then replaced by everything that we know happens with Captain Price. Instead of training as the Americans, we were training as the SAS. His part of the campaign got replaced with the Russians and, of course, Imran Zakhaev, and we got a completely different story than we would have otherwise. In other words, it sounds like the campaign was originally supposed to be much more heavily based around the Americans than on the British SAS. However, there were 2 other levels that also did not get released. The first of which was called Helicopter Ride, and we don't really know what this one was about. However, you were riding somewhere on a helicopter. The second of which took place inside an American embassy and seemingly was taking place around the story of the 1980s Iran embassy Embassy, which we actually ended up getting a mission for much later on in the year 2019 in a game that we're going to look at later, which was of course Modern Warfare 2019, which had its entire embassy mission, which was a huge part of that game. So clearly you could see how different the story of Call of Duty 4 was originally supposed to be. But one other thing, you know the mission Crew Expendables? Yeah, the very first mission in the game. Well, turns out that might have actually supposed to have been the final mission in the game, where you get off the boat, you take a boat onto the beach, and that's where you get in the final battle with either Khalid al-Assad or Ayman Zakhaev. We're not really sure which one it was supposed to be at this point. But yeah, Call of Duty 4 was originally different. Up next, Modern Warfare 2. So unlike Call of Duty 4, it seems as though Modern Warfare 2 had a little bit more of a vision as to what they wanted the story and what they wanted the game to be before it went into development. But that doesn't mean there wasn't changes and cut missions to the overall story. Starting out, when we take a look at Modern Warfare 2, in the Collector's Edition, there was an art book. And in said art book, there is a scene from a cut campaign mission where you can see our characters on a motorcycle. Turns out this was from a mission called Roadkill, where you were supposed to escape on a motorcycle, which then got later taken out. There was also another mission called Downtown LA that was also taken out, which was supposed to be a motorcycle mission as well. Also another mission by the name of Tulsa, which you would assume would take place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But also I have a feeling that this was actually replaced by Exodus, which was kind of that mission in the suburb area where you're fighting the Russians in the suburbs. I don't know why, I just kind of get that vibe between these two missions. Now, moving into some story elements that changed, this might be crazy to you, but you know, in the mission Loose Ends, where General Shepard kills Ghost?
We got it, sir!
Good. That's one less loose end.
Well, yeah, as it turns out, originally that wasn't supposed to be Ghost. As you can see here in an early build of the game, Ghost in this cutscene is actually replaced by Archer, another character in the game who is way less important and therefore makes this moment way less impactful. This is an amazing decision that they made here to push forward the narrative of the story, even though it made many grown men cry. Another change that they made is during the mission contingency. This is when Captain Price goes off and shoots the EMP out of the sub. Originally, it looks like you were actually supposed to go underground into the submarine with Captain Price and help him launch that EMP instead of watching it happen. Another change was there was supposed to be another mission by the name of International Space Station. I believe this is the section where you are in outer space and you see the EMP launch way into the air, but there was originally supposed to be more of a mission, which eventually we did get, but we got it in Call of Duty Ghost. So as you can see here, compared to Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2 seemingly had a more fleshed out idea of where they wanted their story to go, although there was some small changes here or there. And this brings us to the final game of the original trilogy, Modern Warfare 3.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, product not yet rated.
So Modern Warfare 3 was an interesting time after essentially the dissolution of the original studio that was making Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2. They got a bunch of new people, including the help of Sledgehammer Games. Now, there is not a ton that was deleted from the campaign, but one thing was the open-ended ending of the actual campaign. You see, originally at the end of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, Vladimir Makarov is left hanging and Captain Price is left there smoking a stogie, watching as Makarov passes away. However, there was another deleted ending where there was a little bit more to it. Now, this obviously leaves things off on a little bit of a cliffhanger, and based off of the disillusion of Infinity Ward, this probably happened because they didn't know what their next project was actually going to be, so they didn't want to leave it off on a cliffhanger. They ended up doing that with Call of Duty Ghost anyway, but that's a whole other story. But actually, this ending makes a whole lot of more sense, because originally in Modern Warfare 3, it looked like Captain Price survived, but with him seemingly dying at the end, this picture at the very end makes a whole lot more sense, because then everyone in this picture from Operation Kingfish is actually dead. Now, the only other thing that was deleted from this campaign, at least that has been found so far, is one cutscene that seems to be a flashback to the Crew Expendables mission, once again from Call of Duty 4. Now, that being said, there is a ton that was deleted from this game from multiplayer, whether it be maps, perks, weapons, or other things. And if you'd like to see me cover that kind of stuff in a future video, you can show me by hitting that like button and maybe hitting that subscribe button too. That would be appreciated as well. But this is pretty much it for Modern Warfare until 8 years later. Now, here's what's fascinating about Modern Warfare 2019. There was a lot about this game that was cut. Weapons, supply drops, perks, pro perks. This game was almost a different game in so many different ways. However, there was not a lot of changes to the campaign whatsoever, hence why this campaign was really so good. Now, there were a couple things that I could find, however, and there's going to be a lot more in the coming games because, well, you'll see things just got really sloppy. But as far as 2019 goes, first of all, there was supposed to be another mode that was propositioned and concepted that was zombies in Modern Warfare, and maybe this would eventually become something that we'd see in Modern Warfare 3, but this was scrapped pretty early on as they wanted to keep Modern Warfare 2019 as down to earth as possible. Thing number 2, in multiplayer, there was supposed to be a map called Exclusion Zone that was going to be Pripyat, and this was something that was teased at the very end of the campaign as Kate Laswell talks to Captain Price.
Zakhaev wants Barkov's throne.
I almost buried him in Pripyat with Macmillan.
That was the father. This is the son, Victor.
And finally, there's a bunch of cut operators. Now, none of these really have anything to do with the campaign or the story whatsoever. I just thought I would point out some additional characters as well. Now, like I said, let's let things get a little sloppier. Now, here's where things get interesting, because it's about at this point where these developers have now become good at hiding the things that they've deleted. So there's going to be missions and things along those lines that we never get to see. However, there are some documented things from both Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, and they actually go hand in hand. Starting off with Modern Warfare 2. Now, we don't have any cut missions or anything along those lines. However, it was rumored that Modern Warfare 2 was originally supposed to be a 2-year game and getting an expansion in the following year. Now, everyone assumed that that expansion was indeed Modern Warfare 3, but the rumors don't say that is the case. It says that there was supposed to be a single-player campaign that took place in Mexico following the Los Alamos drug cartel that was to be completely separate to the story of Modern Warfare 3, which actually would make way more sense than you may realize. Did you ever wonder why there are so many characters that carry over into Modern Warfare 3, but Los Alamos is never mentioned through the entire thing? Yeah, it's because there was supposed to be a whole other story behind that we never got. And speaking of stories that we never got, let's once again look at Modern Warfare 3.
Available November 10th.
Now, we all know that the Modern Warfare 3 campaign simply wasn't finished, hence why it was so bad. But there's one thing that I've always pointed out, and one thing that I think probably deserves a video in and of itself. So if you'd like to see this, let me know down in the comments and show me by hitting that like button. But there's one question I've had, because throughout the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, we get to see Vladimir Makarov's kind of obsession with Verdansk, invading it and moving forward with that. But yet, at the very end of the game, after he escapes out of the train tunnel, we then see him invade Urzikstan with quite literally no explanation as to why. Well, as it turns out, Vladimir Makarov was supposed to have an entire other character arc that revolved around Roman Barkov, the bad guy from Modern Warfare 2019. Something to do with him being his protege. This is something that never got fleshed out, but we know this because at the time that Modern Warfare 3 started to get revealed, we started to see tweets between Vladimir Makarov's voice actor and Roman Barkov's voice actor being excited that Roman Barkov was coming back to Modern Warfare 3. This was never fleshed out, never explained, and I believe that is because Modern Warfare 3's campaign was never finished. Because if we had this answer, it would make the campaign and the post story that takes place in Urzikstan make a whole lot more sense. But of course, we never got that. So whether we're talking about a mission that was been removed, a cutscene that got taken away, or a character that never truly existed, this has been every piece of deleted campaign, mission, story content from every single Modern Warfare game. Now, what I think is really cool out of this is you can kind of see how Modern Warfare was almost a very different game. Captain Price almost wasn't the main focus of the very first Call of Duty 4 game, but as we saw, the game turned out the way that we play it now today. But like I said, this is just the story content. There's also multiplayer, weapons, perks, and a bunch of other things that got deleted or removed from Call of Duty games. And not to mention, still the story from like the Black Ops universe, Treyarch games, Sledgehammer games, and everything in between. And if you want to see more videos like this one, the best way to show me is by hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're made